Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, right now we are constantly bombarded with dramatic headlines about AI. You know the ones. AI is taking over, it's getting smarter than us, humanity is about to be completely obsolete. But today, we're going to completely flip that narrative. We are going to strip away the magic, look at the hard reality behind the code, and entirely reframe the conversation by exploring the brilliant insights of computer scientist and tech pioneer Jaron Lanier.
So when you're feeling totally overwhelmed by how fast AI is moving, there is one absolutely crucial question you've got to ask yourself. Are we building an autonomous new species, like some sort of alien mind? Or is this actually just the ultimate, incredibly massive human group project? The answer to that single question changes literally everything about how we build, regulate, and live with this technology.
Part 1. The 1950s Cybernetic Warning. To really understand today's panic, we actually have to take a trip back over 70 years. Because honestly, our modern fears about digital manipulation, they aren't new at all. Back in 1950, Norbert Wiener, the guy who literally founded cybernetics, published a book called The Human Use of Human Computers. And in the final chapter, he laid out this chilling thought experiment. He predicted that small, portable, connected devices could eventually automate behaviorist algorithms to actually modify human behavior. He warned this could be a civilization-level threat. By 1992, tech pioneers like Lanier were already writing about software agents of alienation. And well, look around. Today, we're living in exactly that predicted landscape. Part 2. From tools to agents. Let's look at how this builds into a massive, fundamental shift in how we interact with technology every single day. See, we used to treat computers as straightforward tools. You open a word processor to type a document or use a calculator to crunch some numbers, right? The tool does exactly what you tell it to do, nothing more. But now, we've shifted. We're viewing and building machines as agents. Today's platforms use incredibly complex algorithms designed to predict and, more importantly, modify human behavior. They tap directly into what we call the fast brain, those primal fight-or-flight responses. So instead of you controlling the tool, the system is designed to keep you on high alert, just constantly reacting. And here's where it gets wild. This agent-based setup runs on basically one core business model in Silicon Valley: influence generation. People and companies are essentially paying to influence populations. And because of these mathematical principles called network effects, where even a slightly bigger network quickly dominates the entire system, wealth and power become hyper-centralized around just a few massive platforms. The byproduct of all this? A machine that has to constantly generate outrage, paranoia, and a feeling of isolation just to keep that primal fast brain engagement skyrocketing. Part 3. The myth of the creature. Which brings us to a really fascinating contradiction. Think about it. If modern artificial intelligence is really just code, data, and a bunch of massive server farms, why is there an entire ideology out there so desperate to treat it like a creature? Why do we want it to be this new autonomous entity instead of just a really complex piece of software?
Jaron Lanier hits the nail on the head here. A lot of this mythos stems straight from the massive egos in tech hubs. Imagine being a highly paid, young engineer. Of course you want to believe you're not just writing boring lines of code, but that you're birthing a new digital god. Add to that a cultural diet of bleak sci-fi movies like The Matrix and The Terminator, where machines just take over completely, rather than positive, collaborative visions of the future like, say, 90s Star Trek. We've mythologized the tech because, well, it feeds the ego and matches the movies we grew up on.
Part 4. Opening the black box. Let's just shatter that myth right now and peek inside the technology. We are constantly told by tech companies that AI is a black box, that it's this unknowable thing we can't fully understand. But keeping it in a black box is often just a really convenient way to preserve that illusion of a new digital god. Because if we actually pry open that box, the magic completely disappears. What we see inside isn't some alien intelligence. It's simply the millions of human beings whose labor, art, writing, and data make the entire system function in the first place. The reality is honestly hiding in plain sight. Large language models? They're fundamentally the exact same kind of beast as Wikipedia. Think about it. Wikipedia is a massive collaboration of human knowledge, all combined into one single document. LLMs do the exact same thing to create a combined predictive model. It's literally an immense human group project. The only real difference? Wikipedia is voluntary. The data scooped up inside LLMs is vastly larger and, for the most part, an involuntary mass collaboration. Look, acknowledging that AI is just a massive pile of human data is actually incredibly practical. especially when we're talking about security. Take AI guardrails. Say a bad actor asks an AI for a bomb recipe. Naturally, the AI's guardrails block it. But then the bad actor tricks the AI using some clever roleplay prompts and completely bypasses the guardrail. Right now, the usual fix is to just build a taller wall around that black box. But if we acknowledge AI is just clusters of human data, we can run a parallel check. We can analyze what are called counterfactual clusters. Now that sounds complicated, but it's essentially just tracing the digital breadcrumbs back to the specific human source data that makes that bomb recipe possible in the first place. By tracing data back to its roots, rather than treating the AI like a mysterious, unopenable brain, we can actually solve deep security flaws. It's almost like adding multi-factor authentication to AI security. Part 5. The era of data dignity. Okay, so how do we move forward and actually fix our relationship with this incredible, yet totally misunderstood tool? First things first, we absolutely have to ditch the idea that the internet and digital information are just free, ethereal magic floating around in the cloud. Information is physical. Massive data centers consume massive amounts of energy. They disperse real heat into the atmosphere. And most importantly, every single bit of data required real human work to create. We've got to stop pretending data just magically falls from the sky. And the solution to this is a concept called data dignity. This is the idea that data should be recognized for what it actually is: human labor. If we stop pretending bits are just free and start treating data as labor, we can build a system where the people who create the information that trains these massive models are actually credited and compensated. This builds a healthy middle ground. It creates an affordable tech economy that generates jobs, which is really the ultimate antidote to that hyper-centralization of wealth and power we talked about earlier. When we finally stop bowing down to this idea of an AI creature, we aren't destroying the technology, we're actually saving ourselves. By acknowledging that AI is made of people, we prevent an entire generation from feeling utterly obsolete. Instead of this gloomy dystopian future where a machine does literally everything and humans are just sort of pets to big tech, this framework incentivizes entirely new classes of creative people to generate new data. It sparks an endless, expanding future of human creativity. I want to leave you with this one final thought to mull over. What does an expanding future of human creativity actually look like if we just stop giving all the credit to the machine? How much more could we achieve, and how much better could we govern our technology if we finally wake up and realize that there is no magical AI? There are only people collaborating at an unprecedented scale. Think about that next time you open an app or chat with an AI. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this completely changes how you view the digital world around you. Keep questioning and keep learning.